The Bachelorette Season 21 fan favorite, Jonathan Johnson, claimed that he was never offered the lead role of The Bachelor Season 29, and he has no idea why Grant Ellis was chosen. Jonathan, a now 28-year-old creative director from Los Angeles, California, made it to Jenn's final 3 men, but she eliminated him after their fantasy suite date. However, during the Men Tell All episode, host Jesse Palmer invited Jonathan to be a contestant on Bachelor in Paradise Season 10, which he happily accepted. Grant had already been announced as the lead of The Bachelor Season 29 a few weeks earlier. Jonathan Johnson claimed that he was never offered the lead role of The Bachelor Season 29 and has no idea why Grant Ellis was chosen. On the Lightweights podcast, host Joe Volpus asked Jonathan if the opportunity of being the star of The Bachelor was ever on the table for him. He replied, "No, not a mention, not an ask, not a hey, we'd love to just sit you down for a conversation. Not once." When asked if he knew why Grant was chosen, Jonathan laughed and said, "I have no idea. But I always make the joke it's 'cause he's over 6 foot and I'm 5'11". They then joked about how Jonathan refers to himself as a medium king because of his height. Jonathan added that he's talked to Grant, but not about the season. He said that they keep everything under wraps the best that they can, so out of respect for him, he doesn't ask about it. Jonathan shared that he knows that Grant is doing well, and he seems good and happy, but he doesn't know if he's with someone. "No, not a mention, not an ask, not a hey, we'd love to just sit you down for a conversation. Not once." What Jonathan Johnson's claim that he was never asked to be the Bachelor means. The producers chose Grant Ellis for a reason. Even though Jonathan was such a huge fan favorite during Jenn's season, Grant was too, so it wasn't surprising that he was selected to be the Bachelor. ABC executive Robert Mills announced that they wanted to reveal Grant early so that women could apply to the show specifically to date him. At the time of the announcement, Jonathan hadn't yet been eliminated from Jenn's season, so perhaps waiting for his episode to air would have been too late for their plan. However, another reason could simply be that Grant was the perfect choice for The Bachelor Season 29. During Jenn's season, he declared that his mission in life is to become a husband and a father, so he's definitely ready for an engagement. Grant is romantic, thoughtful, and handsome, and has so many qualities that will make his season a success. It's great that Jonathan doesn't seem to hold anything against Grant, and they're still friends. Our take on Jonathan Johnson being the Bachelor in the future. Jonathan would also make a fantastic Bachelor. Hopefully, Jonathan will find true love during Bachelor in Paradise Season 10, but if he doesn't, he'd be an ideal candidate for a future Bachelor season. He's also romantic and sweet, and he's ready to find the love of his life. In addition, Jonathan has a funny personality, as evidenced by his limousine entrance, when he arrived on a stretcher wearing nothing but a hospital gown and sneakers, with his face completely bandaged. His ailment was that he was lovesick. Jonathan kept Jenn in suspense all night until she finally unwrapped his bandages and revealed his face. The Bachelor franchise has had back-to-back Bachelors from the same season in the past, when Ben Higgins and then Nick Viall from Caitlin Bristow's season were chosen for the role. There were also back-to-back Bachelorettes from the same season, when Katie Thurston and Michelle Young each were the lead. The franchise even featured Clayton Achard's runners-up Rachel Recchia and Gabby Windey in the same season as co-Bachelorettes. It would be exciting to see Jonathan as the next Bachelor after Grant. Although Jonathan seems disappointed that the Bachelor producers never approached him to take on the lead role, it's wonderful that he'll be joining Bachelor in Paradise Season 10. Jonathan seems to really want to find his person, so he's not letting his ego get in the way of that by refusing the Paradise offer. Jonathan deserves to find the love that he's searching for, so hopefully he will on the beaches of Paradise. Johnson, a fan favorite from The Bachelorette Season 21, adds another layer of intrigue. Jonathan, a 28-year-old creative director from Los Angeles, recently claimed that he was never offered the lead role of The Bachelor Season 29. Instead, the role went to Grant Ellis, a decision that has left Jonathan and many fans scratching their heads. Who captured hearts during Jenn Tran's season and made it to the final 3, was eliminated after the fantasy suite date. During the Men Tell All episode, host Jess Palmer invited him to join the cast of Bachelor in Paradise Season 10, an offer he accepted. However, Grant Ellis had already been announced as the Bachelor Season 29 lead weeks earlier. Appearing on the Lightweights podcast, Jonathan opened up about his surprise at not being considered for the role. When asked if he had ever been approached, he said, "No, not a mention, not an ask, not a hey, we'd love to just sit you down for a conversation. Not once." He jokingly speculated that Grant's height, being over 6 feet tall compared to Jonathan's 5'11", might have been a factor, referring to himself as a medium king. Despite not being chosen, Jonathan has no hard feelings toward Grant. He shared that they've spoken but have avoided discussing the season out of respect for the show's confidentiality. "I know he's doing well, and he seems good and happy," Jonathan said, though he admitted he doesn't know if Grant has found someone special yet. The decision to cast Grant Ellis as The Bachelor was likely strategic. As an ABC executive explained, announcing Grant early allowed women to apply specifically to date him. At the time of the announcement, Jonathan was still competing on Jenn's season, and producers may have felt waiting for his elimination would disrupt their timeline. Additionally, Grant's strong narrative, his mission to become a husband and father, made him an ideal candidate for the role. His romantic, thoughtful, and charismatic personality further solidified his appeal. While Jonathan wasn't selected this time, his chances of becoming the Bachelor in the future remain strong. His humor, charm, and genuine desire for love have endeared him to fans. Who could forget his unforgettable limousine entrance during Jenn's season, where he arrived on a stretcher wearing a hospital gown and bandages, claiming to be lovesick? Moments like these highlight his playful personality and willingness to stand out. The franchise has a history of featuring back-to-back leads from the same season. For instance, Ben Higgins and Nick Viall both headlined The Bachelor after competing on Caitlin Bristow's season, and Rachel Recchia and Gabby Windey were co-leads following Clayton Echard's season. If history is any indication, Jonathan could easily follow Grant as the next Bachelor. In the meantime, Jonathan's focus is on finding love in Bachelor in Paradise Season 10. While he admitted disappointment at not being approached for The Bachelor, he's embraced the opportunity to join Paradise. His decision to participate shows his commitment to finding love and his willingness to set aside ego for the chance at happiness. Jonathan's journey is far from over, and fans are eager to see how his story unfolds. Whether he finds love on the beaches of paradise or takes center stage as a future Bachelor, one thing is certain: Jonathan Johnson's charm and authenticity will continue to captivate audiences.